Thank you very much. If you look behind me, you can read a very important message. There is hope. And that hope comes from you and the support that you provide for the foundation. If you've read any of the information in the articles, the website, there are no employees in the foundation, but there are lots and lots of volunteers who carry the legwork of the mission. One of those things that the foundation started on was to provide the support really at a national level for veterans. And only until recently, their goal and focus has changed to a more local level. And I know Jerry, Colton's father, really felt that at the beginning it was just too difficult to talk to people at the local level about it, and people that he knew at the national level there was a little bit more of a distance. But recently, I don't know if anybody has seen this, and if you haven't, it's worth something to go check out. Through the brilliance of some creativity and brainstorming, Scott Parsons, who I believe is sitting right over here, and McGast Propane, put on the side of one of the tanks a moving billboard. And if you haven't seen that, it really exemplifies the message of the foundation. I know the driver distributes literature about the foundation throughout the communities that he services, and where he delivers the propane. So it's individuals like Scott and many other people who contribute to that support that gives that ongoing hope in our lives. There's another individual that I'd like to introduce, Amber Oldfield, who is a veteran advocate and caregiver. Amber is a caregiver for her veteran husband and family, and she was chosen by the Elizabeth Dole Foundation as Fellow Hidden Heroes campaign for the state of South Dakota, which enabled her to advocate for caregivers and their veterans across the state and at the national level. So if you will, please help me welcome Amber Oldfield to the podium.
Hi there. I'm going to share a very dark and scary but very real story with you all. And because I feel that you all deserve to know the truth. What would you do if someone whispered it in your ear every day to give up on everything? Your wife, your family, your children, your business, your hope, your dreams. What if that voice continued to whisper in your ear, filling your soul with fear and anger every day and every night? When you closed your eyes, you could see the horrible experiences of your past, keeping you from sleep. And the few hours that you would sleep, you spent fighting the demons that were constantly filling your thoughts. And what if that voice, that tiny little voice, turned into many voices, never ceasing, constantly murmuring, and tearing down every piece of sanity and hope that you had of fulfilling your life and your future. That you no longer mattered, and that there is no reason to go on. You just want to stop those demons from killing the reason to live. And that's the reality of someone living with PTSD. Now imagine someone, a spouse, a child, a parent, a sibling, or a friend, laying beside that person who's fighting those demons every day and every night. And that's the reality of a caregiver. My name is Amber Oldfield, and I have served as my husband's caregiver for 2 years. He retired from the military with a very injured spine, but severe PTSD. Until we received a phone call out of the blue 2 years ago, I felt hopeless. I felt like I was alone. There was no one else there trying to save their husband's life. A friend called us out of the blue to tell us about a program called the Caregiver Program. And until then, I was losing sleep, I'd stay awake, and never wanted to leave my husband alone at any time because I just didn't know what would happen. We enrolled in the Caregiver Program after a call from our friend, and I really didn't know what that would entail. A lot of education, mental support, emotional support, a little bit of physical support every once in a while when I could make a meeting with the caregiver advocate, but it's very difficult. There's one that represents our entire area. When she began to meet with me, I began to dive into the information that I could. I did hours and hours of research because I finally realized that I wasn't the only one, but who else out there thinks they're the only one and they're alone? In January of this year, I was elected by Senator Elizabeth Dole to serve as the Elizabeth Dole Fellow for the state of South Dakota, to advocate for caregivers and veterans as the Dole Fellow. At the end of September, the Dole Fellows from every state stormed Capitol Hill. We met with state representatives and Congress members. We completed over 100 meetings in one day. I was terrified. I was just a gal from South Dakota with a little voice and a huge vision. I was passionate because I was surrounded by people who also all thought they were the only one. Many of you don't know that DOD is not required to tell retiring families about the caregiver program, so they don't. They save a lot of money not educating our veterans, their families, about the likelihood of PTSD or other traumas that they may be facing. So when I was in Washington, D.C., my goal was to share with my little scared voice that I wanted a bill passed and I wanted regulations made where they were required by law to share this information. The same day we launched the Hidden Heroes campaign with Tom Hanks on the Today Show. It's urging cities across the U.S. to become Hidden Hero cities, to pledge their support for all military caregivers and their veterans. And I'm proud to announce that Mayor Steve Allender grabbed onto the vision and signed the proclamation, making Rapid City the 4th city out of 60 cities so far to sign the proclamation. I'm also proud to announce that last week the Senator's office emailed me. They notified me that they signed the draft bill requiring DOD to notify all service members who are separating from the military about the caregiver program. And once that draft is signed, then the laws will be passed and they'll be required to inform all retiring members of the caregiver program. Now, I lived in fear for so long, praying for relief. Prayed for relief for my husband, but I prayed for relief for myself and my family. He's made incredible progress. He's here with me tonight. A year ago, you wouldn't recognize either of us. But together, we're pushing forward to share his story about PTSD, overcoming and the impact of the caregiver program. And I want to thank Colton for his service, for serving a nation he didn't know. But his suffering was not in vain. I'm thankful to my husband for his commitment and his sacrifice to all of you, a nation he didn't know, and for fighting the fight for our family, being willing to share his story so we can help other caregivers and other families with PTSD. I'm honored to serve as his wife and his advocate and his caregiver. Thank you.